Hello booktube friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jocelyn, this is Bookbug, and I will be talking about my mid-year freak out book tag. For the year 2020, I set a goal of 90 books on Goodreads. I'm hoping to get to 100, maybe even a little bit more than 100, and I think I will based on how much I'm reading this year. And coincidentally enough, I reached my halfway point by reading my 50th book at the beginning of June. So I'm at my halfway point with my reading goal and halfway point in the year. So before I get started with the prompts for the tag, I'm going to throw in a little bit of statistics because I love making spreadsheets and I love doing statistics. And I mean, who doesn't on BookTube? This is how I keep my spreadsheets online, and it goes by month, and next to it I have my ratings, and then I have the author, if I read it, and how many pages, and then I tally up how many pages and stuff. I have read 17,316 pages for the year of 2020 so far. My biggest reading month was in February with a total of 11 books, and my lowest was last month. If you watched my wrap up, you'll know why, and that one I only read 7 books in. My longest book this year was 480 pages, and my shortest was 208 pages. I read from 39 different female authors, and then some more of those authors, and then 4 different male authors. And again, I read probably about 10 or 15 books from male authors, but a lot of them were from the same author. As for formatting, I listened to 12 audiobooks. I had 2 e-arcs, both from NetGalley, and I had 4 on my e-reader. And then out of all of those books, I reread 5 of them. Now bear with me, I might have to peek at my computer for a couple of this stuff. So for the genres, I have 1 memoir, 29 thriller mysteries, 9 YAs, 1 fantasy dystopian, 3 historical fictions, 1 self-help, 6 contemporary or contemporary romance, 1 psychological fiction, and 1 middle grade. And again, I might be missing 1 or 2 books that I just recently read in June that I just haven't included. I've been flying through books in June, so I haven't really updated my statistics upon making this video. Out of my star ratings, I gave 15 books 5 stars this year. I gave 14 books 4-star ratings. I gave 15 books 3-star ratings, 4 2-star ratings, 2 2-star ratings, and 3 DNFs. But that's not too bad. Only 3 DNFs out of 53 books. Alright, so now we can get into the prompts for the mid-year book freak-out tag. The first one is probably the hardest one on here, and that's the best books you've read so far in 2020. I'm not gonna give you one because I have so many, so I'm just gonna list them off. Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappi, The One by John Mars, The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, Daisy Jones and the 6 and the 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, both by Taylor Jenkins Reid, The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis, The Dream Daughter by Diane Chamberlain, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, The Last Time I Saw You by Constantine, and Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. They're among the many that I loved, but those were all 5 stars and all books that I will remember for a long time. I forgot to include Starry by Jenn Bennett. I just finished that one and I absolutely love that book. So I would say those are my top for 2020. The second question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2020. Many of you may know I don't really read sequels or series, so this one I think I'm gonna have to leave blank, except that I did finish the Laura Jean, I forget what the third one is called, I'll post a picture of it, but the third one in her series for the To All the Boys I Loved Before, It's Always and Forever, Laura Jean by Jenny Han. That was the third one, and I finished it in January, so I guess I finished that series, so I'll count that one in because I gave all those books 4 to 5 stars. Number 3 is new releases you haven't read yet but you want to. I have such a list for this. The Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, I definitely want to get to. I just haven't bought it yet. He Started It by Samantha Downing. I have been saying I want to read this for a while and I just haven't gotten to it. I don't have it in my possession yet, so that'll probably be the next book that I buy. And The Wife Stalker by Liv Constantine. Two of those authors are my favorite, and then the Hunger Games series, I just have to read it just because I have the rest of it and I love the rest of it. Number 4 is your most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. This one I had to do a little bit of research for because I'm not fully up to date with new releases. Usually I get my information from other booktubers, but I did look up some of the new releases coming out, and that's The Comeback by Ella Berman, which is a psychological thriller, and it is supposed to be released August 3rd, 2020. My biggest disappointment, this is also a tough question. I guess I would consider biggest disappointments in what you most anticipated and what was so hyped up, and when you read it you just felt that your opinion was not the same, that it just fell short, that it was flat, that it just didn't deliver as much as you expected it to. And so for that one I have a couple. Behind Closed Doors by Sarah Pinborough. That one was super disappointing for me, and it was so hyped up. And then I gotta say the other one is probably Behind Closed Doors by B.A. Paris. Another one that was very hyped up that I just ended up hating. Oh, hello there, editor here. Clearly I messed up here, and I said the same book twice. It's Behind Her Eyes by Sarah Pinborough, that's the first one, and then Behind Closed Doors is the second book. And then I will add one that I just read in June, and that is, I think the UK version is Bad Mommy, but the other one is I Can Be a Better You by Taryn Fisher. That one was really hyped up too, I felt like, and I think I gave it a 3-star. It was kind of a disappointment. Number 6 is The Biggest Surprise. 2 books I did not think I was going to like. I'll throw these out, and they came out to be 2 of my favorite reads this year, was Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappi and The Female of the Species by Mindy McGinnis. Those were 2 YA books that I really wasn't looking forward to reading. They were just sitting on my shelf, but I decided on a whim to read both of them, and they both ended up being 5 stars, and they're both in my favorites of the year. Number 7 is favorite new author. Taylor Jenkins Reid. I wish I knew of her sooner. I am absolutely in love with her writing, and I'm actually reading my 3rd book of hers this month, and I can't wait because I loved Daisy Jones and the Six and The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. As I said, for number 1, they were 2 of my favorite books this year, and they currently hold the top spot. I'm pretty sure they're at the top spot for 2020. Number 8 is newest fictional crush. Now, I originally had my answer as Ridge from Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. I absolutely love Ridge. He's probably definitely at the top of my list for newest crushes. But I also have to add in there Billy from Daisy Jones and the Six, and I just finished All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover, and Graham. I love Graham. He's probably he's up there for one of my top crushes of 2020. The next question, number 9, is your newest favorite character. Now for these I have a bunch. I usually don't like, if I can't get into a character, I usually don't end up liking the book. So most of the books I've read this year, I've really liked the characters that I've read. So I would have to say my top faves are probably Eliza Merck from Eliza and Her Monsters, Madeline Martha Mackenzie from Big Little Lies. I freaking love her. I think she's awesome. And I gotta say Alex Kraft from Female of the Species. I just think she is such a little badass, and she pushes her beliefs and her opinions, and she doesn't let anybody step in her way. Number 10 is books that made you cry. If anybody watches my channel enough, they will know that I bawl like a baby for a lot of books. I'm very emotional and sensitive, so I have quite a list here. Daisy Jones and the Six. Once that reveal came in toward the middle, the end, middle-ish part, instant tears. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, same exact thing. As soon as that small reveal came in, bawled like a baby. Eliza and Her Monsters, I cried a lot because of just the way that Eliza felt. I could relate to that. Same as Kath from Fangirl. I cried in Fangirl too because I could just relate to her so much when it came to, social anxiety and her abandonment issues. And then I definitely cried during The Dream Daughter. That book was so good, by Diane Chamberlain. And then I also cried during Taking Chances by Molly McAdams. This is, I don't know if you would consider it, I think I considered it contemporary romance. They're older, they're not high school, so they're college students, and one of the characters dies. And so when that happened, it was really, really sad because I really liked that character. Number 11 is books that make you happy. I guess overall, like, the happiest book I read was probably The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. It was just such a happy-go-lucky, like, feeling once they were falling in love, and who doesn't love, like, a cute little romance like that? Same thing with Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover, the same kind of, you know, vibes, like falling in love, a sweet story. 20 Boy Summer by Sarah Auckler. That one made me happy. They were at a beach for the majority of the book, and I love the beach, so that one made me happy. Starry Eyes by Jenn Bennett. That one is their, it's all a camping trip. The whole scene is a camping trip, and I love camping, so that one made me happy. And actually, I can't remember if it's The Hatchet or Hatchet, but Hatchet by Gary Paulson. That one made me happy too, because this little kid who knew nothing but his, you know, normal life and civilization was stranded in this place, in this wilderness, and had to survive on his own. Every time he would figure something out, I'm like, that kid's pretty awesome. And yeah, it just gave me happy feels. My throat is so dry. Okay, 2 more questions. Number 12 is the most beautiful book you bought this year or received. So I'm assuming this is from the cover. And I would have to go with, so I actually have 4 here. I feel like I keep talking about this one, but I love the cover of Eliza and Her Monsters. I just think it's so artistic, and I just love it so much. So this one definitely. As I mentioned before, Starry Eyes by Jenn Bennett. I love the cover of this. It makes me want to go camping so very badly. And I love the cover of 20 Boy Summer. Also gives me those summer vibes that I want so badly. So this is one of my top. And then for a book that I bought but haven't read yet, I bought this year. I love the cover, and it's We Set the Dark on Fire by Taylor K. Mejia. I love this cover so very much. It's so pretty. I want to read this one very soon. And the very last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? That's a question. I thought the first question was hard. So the books I need to read by the end of this year are 75% of my TBR. That's just what I want to read this year. I want to get at least 75% of my TBR done and good. I don't know if you all share the same feeling, but when I read a book on my TBR and I can put it in a different pile, it is like taking like a stone off of my shoulder. It is the best feeling. And then you go and you buy 10 books from Book Outlet, and that one book doesn't really compare to those 10 books you just put on. So that's my ongoing issue, and I'm trying really hard to stop buying books unless it's like a special, you know, occasion, or we're making a special trip somewhere, or there's a really good sale. So really there's too many excuses for myself here, but I'm trying really hard not to add any more to my TBR and read the ones that I have. And so far for June, I got a couple new books, but they were things like my Edgar Allan Poe series, my like book of the month, where is it? There we go. So I really haven't bought too many new books, but I've read 5 books that were on my TBR. So I'm quite proud of myself there, and I'm in the middle of one more. So I'm trying, you guys, I'm trying. So those are definitely, I want to get through 75% of my TBR. That is my goal for this year, more so than the 100 books. And then I want to read those ones that were released already that I haven't gotten to. The Hunger Games, the new Hunger Games, the one by Liv Constantine, and the one by Samantha Downing. Those are like definitely the top of my list I have to get to by the end of this year. I hope I got everything in this video, because I feel like I'm missing something important, but I think I got all the statistics in correctly and all of the books. I'll try to post pictures of all the books that I talked about if you haven't already seen or heard of them, and I would love to know what you guys have been reading for the first half of the year. So comment down below if you have read any of these, have similar thoughts or not similar thoughts, that's fine too. I would love to hear from you all, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye guys.